Mhm.
There you go. Hello, welcome, and great to see you again, Lou.
Oh, that's my alarm. Hang on.
Yeah, it's time. That alarm says it's time
I guess, yeah.
for our show. This is Leighton Sloth with Leighton Shelton. He'll be on soon. Um, as soon as he comes in, we'll switch. We're going to be talking about several good things. Several
Yeah.
good things. Lou got a sneak peek. How was your weekend, Lou?
It was very good. I just before the show, I get to look at what we're going to see, and it's just so impressive. It's just like, wow. So
It's good stuff.
it's going to be
Good
fun.
stuff.
Weekend
Quick.
was good. Patriots won, I guess. That's good. They don't look great, but they won.
Yeah. Who they beat again?
They beat Pittsburgh.
Trubisky. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey,
Yeah.
listen, they beat Cincinnati last week too. So
Yeah, but so did the Cowboys with the backup. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, you could probably tell me better, but yeah.
So we'll see.
No, no one's too impressed with the win, but it's a win. So
Yeah,
take it.
exactly. It doesn't matter how you got that W. It's that you
Right,
just got it. That's it. That's all that matters.
right.
Um,
Counts as
fan-
much as beating the Bucks, right?
uh, fantasy wise, I did win. How did you do in fantasy?
I did good. I had I'm 2-0 now. Scored 159 points, I think, this week. So
Did
big,
you
and
have
it's
like
funny because this guy last year when I played him, I scored 162 points. So he's
wow?
he's really sick of looking at me right now.
Did you have like Tua as your quarterback or Eric Walden?
Tyreek Hill was big.
Tyreek Hill.
Bucks
Yeah.
defense had a big day. So yeah, and even let's see who else for me. Oh, that's about it. Those were the big guys. Justin Herbert got beat up a little bit, so I'm kind of concerned about him this week. But
Yeah, he's missing this week's game, I believe, right?
oh, has it been declared?
I
Good.
think he is missing it. I mean, that guy could barely throw a ball.
He looked hurt. He looked really hurt.
I mean, guys, come on, just let him rest. It's only one game. Like
Yeah. When the
he
guy's
used to
holding
be.
his elbow against his torso there with his arm up, you look, oh, that doesn't look
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I will.
Yeah.
I will probably bench him this week.
Oh God, that might mean I have to play Jimmy Garoppolo this week if I can get him in waivers. I'm last in waivers, so we'll see what
You know,
happens.
that's funny. I tried to pick him up too. I don't know if I got him yet. I guess we'll find out because my backup, my second quarterback was Trubisky.
Oh
He's
yeah,
not. He's not doing much. So,
it's
um,
going to be Garoppolo or well, I don't know who I'll get, but Tua might be my second option, I guess.
is Tua available?
Yeah, Tua is available,
Wow,
and it's a 16 team league. So.
wow.
And one of the guys owns Dak Prescott, so he's on Carson Wentz, his second quarterback. So yeah,
Miami plays the Chiefs, I believe, right? Or
yeah.
no?
So they'll
Yeah,
have to throw the ball a lot.
yeah, yeah. It's
And I
gonna be a
got
good game.
Tyreek Hill, so that's a nice pairing right there.
It's gonna be a good game. I
Yeah.
can't wait for that game.
Yep.
But yeah, no, my fantasy I won as well. Uh, Unfortunately, he had Trey Lance as quarterback and
Oh,
done for the
yeah.
season, so that hurt him. And Kelsey didn't do much. He was less than average in points.
Yep.
Um, and
Kelsey's clearly on the back nine. I mean,
yeah, I mean that
he
first week he went off. That
yeah,
first
he's
week,
going to flash, and he's still obviously very talented, but he's not the player he was.
yeah. So I was happy with the win. I'll take it.
Plus,
Uh,
without Tyreek Hill, they can concentrate on him a little bit more. So he's got a little more to fight through.
right, right. I had Travis Lawrence as my main quarterback.
Yep.
24 points, not bad. I listen.
Not bad at all.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
See what
So,
happens when you don't have a buffoon as a coach?
so I hope that he can keep it up. I hope he stays consistent. Uh, that first week he didn't do that much. He like 13
No.
points or something. But we'll see. It just
Yep.
depends on the play on the team they play, I guess. But excited about this Cowboys win. I'll take it. I will take it. It's
Yeah,
just
take the win. God.
uh,
Backup quarterback? Yeah, take the win.
take the win. And we play the Giants Monday night, so that's gonna be a good game. Giants
Be
are
interesting. Yeah.
kind of a hype train right now because they went back to back. It's
McCarthy's got to go, though. McCarthy's got to go.
100%.
He's horrible.
I'm not even looking at McCarthy's players right now. He's just
He
done.
is horrible.
Yeah, and I don't know who wins that game. I really don't because the Cowboys defense is really good.
Where is it?
I think it's in Meadowlands.
It's in the Meadowlands. Yeah.
I
Be a
think so.
fun game.
MetLife. What's it called? MetLife? Yeah, MetLife.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's at MetLife. I'm pretty sure it is because we just had back-to-back home games. So Um,
It'll be a fun game. There's film out on the offense under what's his name, backup quarterback there for the
oh,
Cowboys.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. Yeah, there's film out on Cooper Rush now. Brian Daboll's a great coach, and he's getting a lot out of that Giants team. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, Cooper. It's he knows the system. He's been there for 6 years. He knows this. It's just I don't know. There's a reason why he's not a starting quarterback. It's just his
Well,
accuracy
yeah,
is pretty good, but
they paid Dak Prescott like $300 million. That's the reason he's not a
that too
starting
that
quarterback.
helps. Yeah, unfortunately.
He was
Um,
fine. Yeah, he was fine.
yeah.
There's no problem with him.
So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah,
um, as long as we stop Saquon, that's all that really matters. Of course, I
yeah,
have in my fantasy. I don't want them to stop him, but
yeah, yeah. Oh, so you're in that position. You got to kind of root against the Cowboys and root for the Cowboys.
yeah, I'm hoping there's like garbage time and the Cowboys are
Yeah.
winning by a lot and they let just Saquon run or something.
Well, they'll sit if it's garbage time and the Cowboys are winning by a lot. They'll sit Saquon, I would think. But
Well, not too much garbage time. And,
yeah,
like if we're up by 17,
I got
they'll
you.
probably still play Saquon. Um, but I'm hoping that Micah Parsons gets another 2 sacks, which I think is very doable. Um, because who's their quarterback again?
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, yeah
Yeah,
he's very stationary. He doesn't move a lot.
right.
So hopefully we'll get something cool.
What's the significance of two more stacks? Two more sacks. You have IDP.
No, it's just I want him to try to get that record or at
Oh,
least
okay.
tie
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
he's on the path to get that record.
yeah.
But 2 sacks every game, that's pretty good. Pretty good. So far, he's done it for the first 2 games. So we
Oh,
shall
so
see.
what's the speaking of records? What's the scuttlebutt now with Aaron Judge at 60?
Right? He needs one more to tie Roger Maris.
Will the cards from this season? Obviously, his rookie card, like most cards, is valuable. But should he break the home run record this or hit 61 homers this season? Depending on how you feel about the home run record, if he hits 62 homers, for example, does this card become more valuable?
I think they've become already more valuable.
Yeah,
Because people are trying to get it cheap before he hits or breaks a record.
yeah.
So I think his cards are being purchased a lot more now because they know that once he breaks a record, which he will, I think he's going to reach Maris's record and so on. What's the
So are
record that?
Maris's cards of that year more valuable than the average card? I'm guessing the rookie cards are the most valuable, but are they more valuable than the average card?
What year?
Average
What year
Roger
did he?
Maris card.
What year did he break it?
That's a good question. I was hoping you'd know.
If it's 61, then his 62
That's my
card.
guess. Yeah.
Then 62 is card number 1 in the set. If that is the card, then I think it's always going to be a very popular card.
Oh,
Yeah, because he set the bar, right? So
do card companies will they do that? In other words, will Aaron Judge be card number 1 next year?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that
Yeah.
works. That's a good
Yeah.
question for Leighton.
There you go.
Speaking of Leighton, he is here. So Lou, you can start the show.
Okay, I'll
And
get
then
you started.
switch. Yeah, I'll switch with him as soon as the intro plays. Thanks, Lou.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Good afternoon, collectors, and welcome to Leighton's Loft.
Look at you sitting there like you've been sitting there for 5 minutes.
Absolutely. How are you today, Lou?
Very good. How you doing?
What we call that, Lou, is a stand-up double.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep.
All right. And my black shirt apparently meshes very well against the backgrounds.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget on Wednesdays I wear green, and then all of a sudden you can't see me. If this was my new home, this is lovely.
I know, isn't it good? It's a loft, right?
I got a piano. I don't even play the piano, but I have one. Lovely fireplace. I've been looking at apartments, and she's like, "Oh,
Yep.
this one has a fireplace, but it doesn't have this." I'm like, "How am I supposed to keep track of this? I just,
Yeah.
whatever it has is good." What's
Get the
going on?
get the gas fireplace though. Don't do a wood fireplace. Get the gas fireplace.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, if I have an option, I would request that.
Yeah.
Afternoon, Tyler, Sean, Joseph, James, rest of the gang. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a fun show planned for you all. For those of you who are just tuning in, welcome to Leighton's Loft, where you can find us here every Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Leighton's Loft Facebook page. I believe you can also stream us through our YouTube channel. Last week's show was an epic one. We showed off for the first time a fresh to the hobby 1930s mainly baseball card collection with over 600 Gaudies
Yeah.
from 1933. Total of 22 Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig cards from the 1933 and 1934 Gaudi set. Was quite unreal. And speaking of unreal, Nick has already brought it up. He stole my thunder. We had
Yep.
an insane hit last night that came out of Metal, the new product, Metal Universe Champions from Upper Deck. We hit a precious metal gem, which is an insert of Michael Jordan, and it was one of the first 10. So it was numbered. It was green, and it's numbered till 10.
Yep.
And so that card from our friends at Dave and Adams Card World has a $50,000 bounty on it if you pulled it out of their boxes. There is another example on eBay that is listed for $423,000. I don't know what it's worth, but if I had to guess, somewhere between $50,000 and somewhere, that astronomical number that they're asking on eBay. But it is one of the biggest cards from the product, and we hit it last night on Vintage Break South with Chris Gilmore. I
Yep.
believe Chef got the MJ, and I mean it's unbelievable, Lou.
Oh, Chef got it because
I
Chris's
believe
post
so.
on Facebook. I was just laughing because he said, "Oh, I hit a $50,000 card like it was nothing." And he
Oh
said one
well,
of
he
our
didn't.
friends, but he didn't say who it was. So yeah.
Yes, I believe it was Chef.
Oh, excellent.
Unbelievable pull. Just seeing him hit it on air live was kind of fun to see the playback.
Wow. So you
what
never
would you
know,
do?
right?
What would you do, Lou? Would you be nervous you drop it?
Oh, if I were pulling it,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I would immediately back away about a foot or so. I'd have to find something to do with it. Get the white gloves and put those on and that type of thing. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine doing that and then like splitting it when you're trying to put it in the sleeve or something? Oh God.
Well, that's I think the most nerve wracking is the actual holding it of it, because I don't think I would drop it, just dropping it, but I do think
No.
it's possible that sometimes like those little sleeves can be annoying. You ding a corner, who knows? But
Yep.
real pumped for the community. Thought it was an amazing hit, and one of the more difficult cards to get out of the entire product.
So happy for Chef. That's excellent.
Yeah, amazing hit.
What were slots in that set going for?
Oh, I mean, I think a pack. I don't want to misspeak, but I think a pack was about like $100, a little bit less maybe.
Pretty good turnaround right there.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a when you put it like that, Lou. Yeah. I think he had several spots in it, but regardless, it's still a nice return.
Nick says $95. You pretty close.
Yeah. I'm curious. I was going to reach out to Chef later. I'm curious if he's going to sell it, hold it, think about it. Maybe we'll have Chef on in a future episode. Love to ask him.
I'm trying to think of the parlay I'd have to hit to have a similar payout.
I mean, it would have to be like teams with long odds nailing the money line,
Excellent.
So speaking of money line, you saw the Jets came through on the money line this week against the Browns. What an unbelievable comeback!
Oh, that must have been some fun, huh? Watching that.
It was. It's funny. And this is how sick Jet fans are. They're like, Leighton, are you happy about the win? And I'm like, why would I not be happy about the win?
Oh, here we go.
Well, if you lose, I'm like, guys, we already have a quarterback. If he doesn't work out, then so be it. But like, I'd like to win. It's nice. It's nice to win.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a different feeling.
So Jets fans are playing for the number one pick already?
Yeah, it's a little bit early, Lou.
It's a little bit early. Yeah.
I think
Plus,
so.
but Houston and Seattle are going to give them a run. Even Detroit's a little better this year, but yeah.
Yeah, Detroit's already won a game, and listen, this is how sick I am as a Jet fan. They're 1-1, Lou. They're right in the thick of the playoff race.
Yeah.
So
They could easily win 6 to 8 games easily, and that's one lucky bounce away from 9 wins or 10 wins, and you're
exactly.
in.
And what if someone eats too much Olive Garden the night before and they can't perform the way that they need to during the game?
Yep.
Anything's possible.
Plus, they got 2 games against the Patriots, so there's 2 potential wins right there.
Patriots are looking decent.
Okay, yeah, not great, but okay.
Yeah, I think they beat the Steelers, right?
They beat the Steelers. Yeah, the offense doesn't look very good. Defense is better, a little better than we thought, but they haven't played anybody yet. Mitch Trubisky and they played Tua, so I guess that's okay. Tua had a good week too. So, but he's got great weapons there, and they did pretty well against him.
Yeah, I know. It looks like they set up Tua very well for success in Miami, Lou.
Sean, you'd have to bet on the Jets to win back-to-back Super Bowls for that kind of payout.
You probably would.
I don't think it's that bad, but yeah, it'd be a good parlay.
Yeah, it would have to be something like that.
Jets cost me in a VB fantasy league. There you go.
Yeah, they, I took, I think in like one of these random survivor polls, I took the Browns just as like one of my picks, and I'm happy to be wrong, that the Jets won, but I didn't.
So we've got the
Ravens.
I'm sorry, we got the Ravens this week. What can you tell me about the Ravens? Haven't just watched them.
Well, it's weird because I didn't think they appeared that dominant against the Jets, and then last week they got off to an amazing start against the Dolphins, and I guess they just faltered. Yep. So it looks like their defense is suspect. Offensively, they can score. That's for sure.
Mike McDaniel. Yeah, Tyler, I like Mike McDaniel. I've liked everything I've seen so far. Head coach of the Dolphins. It's an odd guy, odd head coach, but I like him.
I wanted to show everyone. Let's see here. So we made a post today on our Facebook account, our Instagram account, and we'll just kind of hold it up to here. So this, I guess I don't know if it's going to blend in well. So let me do the other. I'm going to do the other camera, Lou.
Okay.
Got a few things to show off anyway. So if you see on Instagram, today we posted about the massive Arizona fine that we talked about here for the first time ever last week. There's pictures of all the roofs, all the Gehrigs, and of course there's the overview of the shoebox. So if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you could do that you can see right there, Leighton_Sheldon. And you give me a follow, you'll see all the content that we're putting out about the collections that we're buying. Of course, we're going to have the store and stuff.
Looks like a dream, doesn't it? That collection just laid out like that.
When I walked, you should read my Instagram post, my write-up, Lou. I thought I was on the Truman Show. Like, where's the cameras? And I even wrote today because I thought it was just funny. I'm like, I was just waiting for Ken Golden to come out of the back room and say, "Oh, wait, thanks for coming all this way to help me carry it home." But they've already consigned it to Golden Auctions.
Oh God!
I mean, like all the stuff was just it was surreal.
It's funny because it's possible.
Well, anything's possible. Exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to show off the next tier of bonuses in our new Big Vintage Breaks event. This is going to be our VIP bonus. It is now $1,000 in purchases will get you one entry. For whatever it's worth, last time was $2,500, and we did have some feedback from our community that said they preferred it to be $1,000, and so we did listen. And for this VIP promo, it's going to be $1,000. Will get you one entry, meaning if you spend $1,000 on any purchases at Vintage Breaks during this event period, you'll get one entry. Yep. First place, going with the rookie theme, because yesterday we announced the 51 Bowman rookie. Mickey Mantle is the big prize in our Platinum VIP promo. Well, this is our regular VIP promo, and even though it's graded a 1.5, it's got great eye appeal. It's a Joe Namath 1965 Topps rookie. This is going to be first place in our new Vintage Breaks VIP promo that just went live today. Second place is going to be a $2,500 break credit to VintageBreaks.com. And third place is going to be a 2021 Topps Definitive baseball box.
Nick is asking $1,000 at checkout?
No, $1,000 in aggregate purchases over the course of the event.
Cumulative. Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Yep. So those are the 3 prizes. This is first place, the Joe Namath rookie. Second place will be the $2,500 break credit. Third place will be a 2021 Topps Definitive Box. If you want to learn more about that promo and see the rest of the gang stream today, they're going to be starting their show at approximately 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you can tune in, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I wanted to pull out my... Give me 1 second here.
Sean says it's iconic, so always desired in almost any grade, but that's a good-looking card.
Yes. Okay. So, I wanted to just pull up. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, Tyler says he's not a Namath guy, but that card really pops. I mean, Namath is, again, as he put it, just so iconic. Namath is Namath.
Yeah, exactly. The commercials.
Well, you can't tell the story of the NFL or the Super Bowl without Joe Namath. I mean,
Exactly. He doesn't have to be the best player, but he is very relevant to the space, Lou. We'd all agree on that.
No, as I said, and I get in trouble for it every time, but it's true. He might be the worst athlete in any Hall of Fame in professional sports, the worst player. But again, the Hall of Fame is for fame. It's a Hall of Fame, and you can't tell the story of the NFL without Joe Namath in Super Bowl III. You can't do it.
Yes. So what I want to do is show off. This is, speaking of tall boys, this is the premier hit in our 1969 Topps basketball set break. So this PSA 8 Jabbar rookie is unbelievable for the grade.
Yeah.
It's basically dead nut centered left to right. Top to bottom looks very well centered as well. And then I realize it'll be tough for the gang to see on camera, but those corners, it really wouldn't look out of place in a 9 holder.
Nice. I hate that card. I had so many of those.
I know, Lou. I feel a little bit guilty when I bring it out because I know we talked about it on air several times.
Yeah.
And it's not like you would have mistook this card for something else. It's so distinct, right? Being
Right.
tall.
Yep.
It's Alcindor. You're not going to forget it. Like you remember. Like you
Yep.
threw away thousands of dollars, Lou.
Oh yeah, tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh,
Easily.
I'm sorry.
And when we were on PSA, every time I go to the PSA front page, there was that card with a big number beside it.
Yep. So like you tried to escape it, but you couldn't.
Couldn't escape it. No, it was haunting me.
Okay. Okay. So there's 37 spots left in our 1969 Topps basketball set break. Once again, the key card is the Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie, in a very high-end PSA 8. And what I wanted to do is talk about this card in particular today, because there was, if you will, some discussions on the internet, I guess maybe Instagram, about our set break and, costs and values and all that kind of good stuff. And so, what I did was I messaged someone in regards to the value and such, because they were trying to suggest to me that, all Jabbar rookies, if you will, and 8s are the same. So, for example, if you do the numbers, you're charging X per spot for the set break. It really only costs Y. It should be cheaper. And I'm like, oh, well, like kind of where are you getting that information? Yeah. And so it was interesting because someone had referenced, and I have my note here, that there was a memory lane Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie in an 8 that sold for $32,000 recently. And so when we listed this set break, I think initially a few months ago, the Jabbar was probably give or take in like the $50,000 range. Give or take, and this one is in particular very high end. So what I was trying to kind of engage in a intelligent discussion about pricing, I figured we would just do that today on air because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, the premise is flawed at every 8 is the same, right? I mean,
well, and so that's kind of what I want to talk about is, so if you're someone who just wants to buy plastics, and you want to buy like a Jabbar 8 or a Michael Jordan 7 or a Clemente rookie in a 5, like whatever the it card is for you, right? Because it's different for all of us, Lou. And I realize you're not going to buy the Jabbar because you have, these nightmares.
Well,
but for
that's
others,
just one of the reasons. But yeah,
exactly. But for others that maybe are okay and can sleep at night, they might enjoy owning the Jabbar. So what I did is I looked a little bit deeper in terms of the data, and although the memory lane example sold for $32,000, that example was what I would define a weak 8. So realize
Yep.
PSA doesn't have, like when you get an 8, it doesn't show you, is it a high-end 8, is it a low-end 8? In fact, actually, kudos to PWCC, because they were one of the first companies of its kind to do this years ago, where they would sell an 8 on eBay and they would call it like PWCC top 15% or PWCC top 10%. I forgot their different,
Yep.
levels and such. And so this card was one that was fresh to the market and was graded. And when I saw it, had the ability to work out a deal to try to get this set break for Vintage Breaks, jumped at the chance because I looked at it as it wasn't just an iconic 1969 Topps basketball set break with a Jabbar 8. It was a Jabbar 8, Lou, that I would be proud to have in my collection. So much so that I think it looks more like an 8.5 or a 9,
Yeah.
even under magnification. And so what I did was, for today's show, I looked up some of the recent values. And so the last 8 in memory lane, shout out to JP, Dan, and my friends out there in California. The last one sold for about $32,000 in auction, fairly recent. But the eye appeal was substantially lower on that card because of centering and a few other flaws. So then I looked a little bit further, and there's actually no high-end available 8s right now that I see in the marketplace, meaning like eBay at fixed price and such.
Mhm.
And then this is
When you
interesting,
look
Lou.
through pop reports and you look at different comps, do they often mention that it's a low end 8 or a high end 8 or anything like that?
It's a great question. So they generally don't. However, for example, on vintage card prices and places like Card Ladder, I believe they're starting to, and they've done this for years now, they'll keep the images of the cards sold.
Yep.
So at least you know that, hey, if this Jabbar sold for $32,000, this is what the card looked like that sold
Okay,
for that,
Yep.
as opposed to it's just a PSA 8 and it doesn't matter what the actual eye appeals of the card.
So you can do your own differentiation.
Yeah, you can figure it out. So what I thought was
Yep.
interesting is the last PSA 8, and you can see the card on camera, Lou, right?
Yes, hang on.
Great. So to make
There we
sure.
go.
So
Yep.
the last PSA 8.5 of this card sold for $84,000.
Wow.
And the last PSA 9 of this card sold for $200,000. Now, would it sell for more or less in either case next time? I don't know, because they're so infrequently traded. And I do think, once again, eye appeal has to do with the price. So I wasn't able to find images of those two in particular. But I just knew, based on what I saw on eBay, and that's what I did before we hopped on today, is there's very few high-end PSA examples. And of the PSA examples that are out there, the highest one that I see is a PSA 7.5. And, someone's asking basically $39,500 best offer.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I like to do when I'm talking about, forget about trying to price a set break, but also just try to price a card, is not just what they've sold for, Lou, but what's available for sale currently in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of folks like to say, hey, well, I'll pay what the last comp was. I'm making it up 32 days ago because it sold for X. Well, what I would respond is, what if today, 32 days later, that although you're quoting that price to me in that comp, what if that card's actually not available for sale publicly? So is it really worth that? And if there's actually demand, meaning you're one of potentially several people that want to buy the card,
Right.
is the card worth more than it sold for 32 days ago? The same or less? It's all, no one can prove anything. It's just interesting.
Right.
But what I wanted to bring up more than anything is that, we take great pride in the offerings that we bring to you here at Vintage Breaks. And this one in particular, I was able to work out a deal. We don't usually sell set breaks on consignment. In fact, we almost sell, everything that we sell is almost, owned by Vintage Breaks exclusively. But on occasion, Lou, we've done a few consignment arrangements for Vintage Breaks when we can get something really special. So in this case, we thought that this was, quote unquote, really special because it wasn't just a PSA 8 Jabbar, but it was a PSA 8 Jabbar rookie that I would be proud to have in my collection, and I don't think would be out of place in an 8.5 or a 9. And you can see, just based on the numbers that I was quoting you, that even though this says an 8, if it has the eye appeal of an 8.5 or a 9, is
Right.
it worth $32,000? No, I think it's worth north of that. Is it worth $84,000, which is what the last 8.5 sold for? No, I don't think that, and I don't think it's worth $200,000, which is what the last 9 sold for. But if you're someone who is savvy and understands the way the cards work, you know that if you were in the market for Jabbar 8, you would be thrilled to buy this card and get it in your collection especially as part of the set break. So my point is that in terms of the pride, you realize that, and of course this goes without saying, like we could have, let's say, tried to buy another 8, and even though it's expensive, put in a 8 that was a little bit less well centered. But
Right.
the reason
Yep.
why we chose to use this card is because we were so proud of its condition, what we thought in terms of us curating breaks for our community would mean. And so we're very excited to have about 36 or 37 spots left today in that break. Of course, we'd love to sell it out by tomorrow so we can do the break. But I did want to take a few moments from the show today to talk about, it's not just this card, it's this type of thinking in general. So
Yes.
don't get focused, in other words, on this card and this set break and how we price things, because once again, folks, you out there as a consumer, whether it be a regular vintage breaks or not, you get to decide with your wallet if something is a worthwhile proposition for you to participate in as a collector, as an investor, as a someone who likes entertainment, whatever the case may be. I'm just merely bringing up that whether it be you're looking at an Alcindor or a Mickey Mantle or a Joe Namath, I think we'd all agree that for a 1.5, this is a really nice looking card. So when you're out there buying for yourself, when you're out there trying to trade at a convention, keep in mind to not get stuck or fixated on the actual number on the holder. If the card hits you well, Lou, go for it. Don't worry if you've overpaid for quote unquote a 6 or a 4 or a 3 or a 1.5, because if it has better eye appeal, who's to say what the future is going to hold in collecting? Because we've already seen how the eye appeal of a 1952 Topps Mantle and an SGC 5 recently sold for $300,000 plus at an REA auction, whereas that card in a similar condition, meaning an SGC 5 or a PSA 5, could sell for $150,000 or $175,000, meaning almost half, because just simply considering the eye appeal, the centering, the color. So it's important, Lou, whether it be you're making $1,000 purchases or $10,000 purchases or $100 purchases in the hobby, and you're buying, for that matter, not just a vintage card. If you're buying a Patrick Mahomes rookie and there's centering to consider for that card, maybe you're going to try to buy the example that's a little bit better, well-centered, even if the grade is the same on both cards.
There's not an entity in the hobby, whether it be a business or individual collector, who's going to feel obligated to get the lowest range of those prices on a particular grade, because all 8s are not the same, all 7s are not the same. It varies from grade to grade. You have no reason to feel obligated to sell it for the lowest common denominator of price just based on a recent comp.
100%, Lou. And so just keep in mind that these are tall boys, so it's a little bit easier to see because there's just, there's more surface.
Right.
But, even cards that, I don't have many vintage cards around me. Well, this is just, I guess it's not a good example. It's a 60 Topps Unitas, but it's written on. Just something to keep in mind, that if you build and curate a collection with that in mind over time, you're going to be really pleased when you sit down with your personal, 100 cards for your collection, your personal 10 cards, whatever the number is, even if it's just 1 or 2 cards. Choosing an eye appeal and not focusing on the grade, I think is something that not only I've talked about and preached for the last several years here at Vintage Breaks and Just Collect, and certainly on the Loft, but when we had the opportunity to get something like this, which would be really special as far as it being a super high-end example for the grade, we wanted to do that for the community. As someone mentioned before, of course, listen, it goes without saying, we have overhead, we have expenses and all that, but we're not talking about that today. This is not a business lesson. This is actually just a card discussion. People decide for themselves if they want to, buy into a break. They can do the numbers and the math all by themselves. I'm just talking about that if you're participating in a break and there's an expensive hit, right? Because I see a lot of I guess they call these repacks and things that are done in the industry. I would always be curious, hey, if there's a big, vintage card, well, does it look nice for the grade, Lou? Or is it what we call a slider? Is it weak for the grade? And so for me personally, I'm very happy and proud to be able to offer such a high-end example for the grade. But make no mistake, we can't always guarantee that. And so for this particular break, we'll be very happy when it sells out, and pumped to break this for you live on our stream. And we'll keep everyone posted about its progress. Today, I think there's about 36 or 37 spots left.
Do you feel confident making those determinations within a grade electronically with a photo, for example, or do you need to have hands on the card?
I generally like to have hands on the card when they're super expensive.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, Lou, right? Because if
Yep.
you make an assessment of a card or cards through email based on images, and they're just worth a little bit less, your downside's less.
Mm-hmm.
But we commonly tell folks, especially when the cards are starting to get to be 5 digits and more,
Yeah.
hey, your card in a of such and such is a 6 is 10,000, but in a 7 it could be 25,000. And then we'll say, well, I'd rather have a 7. Sure, so would I. So what we do, Lou, is we explain to them how the process works. And in some cases, when the disparity is so big between a grade, even though we're buying the collection outright, part of our contract and our agreement that we'll have with some folks is we'll buy this collection for such and such, but these 2 cards, we're going to get them graded. If they grade this, we'll pay you X. If they grade this, we'll pay you Y. And we simply take photographs of the before and after so they know it's the same card getting graded. And so the point is that until computers take over grading, and it might take over the world. You'll see a robotic Leighton Sheldon talk in the near future with a robotic Lou Blasi, and Lou and I will be out playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Who
It'll be
knows?
Max Headroom. That's
Yeah,
an old reference.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
But I'm guessing you take into account when you're buying a set, for example, or a collection, when you get to one of these high priced cards, you're taking into account whether it's a high 8 or a low 8 or a mid 8.
Oh, very, very much so. And we tell folks that all the time. The biggest problem becomes, Lou, when there's a big discrepancy between grades. So in other words, if the discrepancy was a little bit less, it wouldn't matter. I think everyone would be happy. But when folks have expensive cards and they know that next tranche, that next grade or next half grade could mean a lot of money to their pocket, rather than have it be the elephant in the room, we address it right on, head on. And so we'll make deals the way I just described a few minutes ago in terms of having some sort of hybrid where, there'll be a few cards that are outliers. We'll get them graded because we're going to get them graded anyway. And we just keep them in the loop as to what the final grade turns out to be.
All right, before we get going here, and I have shots of the Jordan card if you want to show them, but I was asking J5 before the show, should we be stocking up on Aaron Judge cards from this year as he approaches 61 homers, 62 homers? Are these cards in this set going to be a little bit more valuable than the average card? Obviously, the rookie card is going to be the most valuable, but will this find some added value? And did Maris's card in 61, I believe he hit 61, did Maris's card in 61 accumulate more value than the average Maris card?
Sure, we'll take Maris cards first. In general, the Yankee Maris cards are more desirable than the Cardinal Maris cards.
Makes sense. Yep.
Or I think he started off on KC his rookie year, so that's his rookie, so it's desirable. But as far as the actual like Maris cards from 61, they just happen to be nice cards, so I don't think they're necessarily more valuable because of that.
Right.
Like his 62, his 63, they're all great cards. However, Aaron Judge, do I think this year's cards could be better? No, but I think what they're going to do, Lou, is next year they're probably going to have some short prints related to how many home runs he has. So I think those would be cool. However, and this is coming from a Yankee fan, so I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can. I believe right now is a great time to sell your Aaron Judge high-end cards because the likelihood of him being this hot in the future, the likelihood of this price of him hitting 62 is not Cleveland. Excuse me, that's what I meant. I was thinking KC Athletics for some reason. So yeah, getting a high end 62 Maris is tough.
And listen, the reality is, Aaron Judge could be in a different uniform next year.
Well, and you stole my thunder, Lou. So if he's in a different uniform, make no mistake, he's still a great player, but he doesn't have that Yankee demand behind him as that he once had. So to me, if I had a high-end Aaron Judge right now, I'd be looking to potentially cash out, deploying that money elsewhere. And to be fair, if you really want to, you could buy back on the dip later on.
Excellent.
So with that, we're going to wrap up today's show. Thanks for joining us today on Leighton's Loft. Stay tuned for our Vintage Break stream, which is going to start at the 3 o'clock hour with Sam and the rest of the gang. As always, if you've had a good time today, please like and subscribe to our show. You can find us here each and every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
my friends.